Hey guys, I hope you're all good. Welcome to Practical Guide of Nutrition. In this workshop, we are going to run through how to structure your nutrition in the right way, how to navigate social occasions and weekends without feeling guilty or falling off the wagon, and how to cut through all the noise and learn and understand what actually works. Nutrition is one of the most important, but also one of the most difficult parts of any health and fitness journey. So let's get stuck in.
We have got three objectives, and these are the things that we have identified come up in the majority of conversations we have with new clients, current clients, and just people in general conversation throughout the year, really. And that's being able to create structure with your nutrition, being able to navigate weekends and social occasions with no guilt or falling off the wagon, and being able to cut through the BS that's plastered on social media or that you hear people saying out and about. So those three problems, as we've mentioned, you don't have any structure, and you go day to day with your diet with no real direction. You fall off track at weekends and when there's social occasions that come up, and you don't know what to believe as correct. We're going to go through the solutions right now. So the first one being structure. We've identified three key solutions to this issue, and that is one is having meal frequency. So knowing how many meals you're going to be consuming on each day, that reduces the feeling of having to just grab something on the go or getting to 11, 12 o'clock in your work day and thinking, I've just not had breakfast yet. We all get carried away. We live in very, very busy lifestyles. If you've got kids as well, and things can just get a bit on top of you. And sometimes nutrition is not the focal point of your day. So things do get passed up. There is going to be a knock-on effect to that, and it's going to increase hunger, increase the chances of snacking, and then actually go beyond your calorie targets. So identifying what amount of meals per day works for you. And again, this is not us telling you whether one method is right and one method is wrong. If you prefer and it works better within your circumstances to only adopt 2 meals per day, maybe you just can't eat breakfast, you want to skip it. Again, if that works for you and it's going to lead you to being most consistent and accurate with your targets, then you just need to find what works for you with that. Number two is calorie distribution. So you have your calorie target for the whole day, and then you put it in to however many meals you have identified will work for you. Having these clear structured goals for each meal and having the correct calories distributed for that, and also allowing for snacks and bits and pieces as well, is going to lead to being a lot more sustainable and consistent. And then thirdly is having a planning session. So we went through it in the last webinar about the importance of planning for your overall goals. You need to be doing that on a week-to-week basis with your nutrition. This can be the start of your week whenever that works out around your shifts. A really successful one for clients is one that goes around their shopping. So planning whilst also planning their shopping list, because then that way it's fresh. You're not going to lead to you just randomly picking up bits in the shop, and you're going to be you've got all your meals planned out for the week. And in this planning session, it might take a little bit of time to begin with, but once you've done it a couple of times, you're going to become so much more efficient on it. It can take about half an hour every Sunday if you really get it dialed down, because we are repetitive with what we eat over the course of a couple of weeks. So things are going to be templated after a while. The second most common issue that we found is the navigating of social events, whether it be you've got a wedding coming up, you've got a holiday, your birthday, Christmas. That can lead to not really knowing where you should be going and what should be happening, and lead to you being confused. And then there's terminology that we use of falling off the wagon. We think there are four options to overcoming this. They are that you enjoy it guilt-free. They don't happen very often. So you could just essentially go out for it, enjoy yourself, take advantage of it, and just get straight back on track afterwards. Number two is accounting for it before. Number three is accounting for it afterwards. And number four is having a strategy for the day. So we have gone into 2, 3, and 4 of a little bit more detail so we can explain it a bit more accurately. So number two is accounting for it before. This is an example for someone who's on 2,000 calories per day. That would be a 14,000 weekly total. Again, this is just an example. You could use this a few minutes now to put your daily calorie target, your weekly, and do a little bit of planning for yourself. So what you would do for this is the 6 out of 7 of your day, you just drop a little bit below. And you see how many calories that frees up for that social occasion you've got on Saturday. Now, we appreciate it might not always be like that, and you might have a couple of social occasions, but just sitting down on that 30 minutes for your Sunday, you could map out your week just like this. And all of a sudden, nothing has gone over. You've not gone one single calorie over your weekly target just by having this little bit of a plan and going slightly under on the other days of the week. You could also account for it afterwards. So, for example, here, the social occasion, again, being on that Saturday, maybe something's come up sporadically, you've not really had time to plan for it, or you've just overindulged and you've just, whatever the situation has been, life can be unpredictable, and sometimes you just need to have that little blowout. So that's happened on the Saturday. Rather than panicking about it and doing something extreme in the days that follow, and then maybe not even eating until your evening the next day, you just adopt the complete opposite of what I just mentioned. Your Sunday to Friday that follows, you just reduce your calorie intake and you're still hitting your weekly target. This is how simple it can be to navigate social occasions once you just put a few minutes into planning ahead or afterwards in this one occasion here. And the final method is strategy for the day. If you don't want to plan before, you don't want to plan afterwards, whatever, you're free to do this method as well. Now, a few things you could do on the day of a social occasion, if it's a wedding or whatever the situation is, you could just adopt fasting. You could skip your breakfast and just allow that calorie distribution that we mentioned earlier, just split it between 2 meals, or even one if you just want to have a smaller lunch. You could adopt a protein-only breakfast, again, so you're reducing the higher amount of calories that tend to come through carbs in your breakfast. You look ahead, you pick the options ahead of time, and you select a starter and main only. Again, you're reducing your overall calorie consumption for that social occasion. And reducing alcohol will be a major element of that. We all know all too well. So you're going to probably go well over that target, even if you plan all the food ahead of time, if you're consuming massive amounts of alcohol. Again, just having a think about what some of the lower calorie options are can massively help you stick to these targets, even when you're massively enjoying it. Now, the summary of navigating social occasions and weekends and everything like that is to not overthink it. As I mentioned in the very first point on there, is they don't come around very often. So make the most of them. Most of your time is going to be spent in the regular routine of doing your gym sessions, eating well. So you're doing that most of the time. Make sure you enjoy these social occasions. And if it means going over your calorie targets, really don't put too much pressure on yourself. Okay. And then the third biggest thing that we really get from people in our messages and from clients that pops up is all of the noise that is on social media through people that you work with, family and friends that maybe just have heard something as well. It can be really confusing knowing what to do because you've seen something's work for someone else, you've seen something that may be adopting, and there's quite a lot of lies out on social media. So it's going to be tough to navigate what is the truth and picking and choosing bits from there. You've got the keto diet, you've got fasting, you've got carnivore, you've got Slimming World clubs, your Atkins diet, paleo diet. You've got all these different doors that you could go through. I've created this beautifully illustrated graphic so you know exactly what door that you should go through. And you've all gone through that door because you're here. So you're picking a more sustainable approach that doesn't adopt any of these real quick fixes and short-term measures to try and just get a little bit of a result and then find it hard to stick with it long-term. Here, you're getting it long-term. Ultimately, you need to do something that sticks with your values, something that, again, you're not feeling like you're being forced into and that you're getting no enjoyment from it. We all know too well, and you may have done this in the past where you've tried some form of real quick restriction diet and you've just not had any enjoyment. you've become a little bit intolerable to be around. People have noticed your shifts in your behavior and your attitudes because you're not getting any enjoyment from the diet. And if that's then leading to your energy levels depleting, everything changes in your life. Your gym performance will reduce. So finding a sustainable approach for the points that we've just mentioned is definitely the way forward. And something that comes around on social media a lot, particularly, is there's lots of myths and false information. So we've broke down the 4 most common that we come across on social media, particularly, or that we get messages from clients. And we're going to go myths versus facts. Now, one of the most common is sugar is the cause of weight gain. There's a lot posted around on social media about sugar and should you consume any, should you not, all of the bits and pieces with that. In actual fact, calories are what matter most. The fact is, you could consume a low calorie diet, lose body fat, and it could be high in sugar. They're not promoting doing that because of the fact that your energy levels, you're going to feel pretty rubbish all of the time. So you do need to obviously have a balance because you're not then getting the nutrients, but it's not sugar. So just through. Another one is carbs are bad for you. Again, carbs are important for energy. If you're doing really intense gym sessions, you're going to need to have some form of carbohydrates in your diet so you can make sure that you're turning up week after week and putting that intensity into your sessions to see the progress that you want to completely change your physique and change your confidence levels, improve your strength. And to get that, because you're going to notice a sizable shift in how much energy you have if you try and just massively reduce your carbs in the hope that is going to lead to your calorie deficit, when ultimately, as we just mentioned, calories are what matter most. Into a training one, we've got creatine has side effects, or the belief that creatine is actually some form of steroid or performance enhancing drug. But in actual fact, creatine is the safe and most researched supplement there is on the market. There is not a single person that would not benefit from taking creatine. However, that's not to say it's anything that's going to significantly increase your results if you're not putting in the effort. It's not a performance enhancer if you're not doing the work that's required. But it is safe. It is the most researched supplement. And I would recommend everyone takes it if they are doing some form of resistance training. And the 4th one is fasting is best for weight loss. In actual fact, it's just a form of calorie restriction. It can be a very successful form of calorie restriction if you're particularly, like we mentioned at the start, that you're finding it difficult to get your calories down to a certain level over 3 meals, or you increase your snacking. Skipping a meal could work well for you. And there are times that you may need to do some form of intermittent fasting, but just the act of fasting itself is no magical way to actually seeing results. Because ultimately, it all comes back to that first point we mentioned, calories matter most.
So thank you all so much for watching. I hope that was useful and gave you a really good insight into how to structure a nutrition plan that works for you. If you are still struggling with nutrition, it's something that you really need help with, we run a 4-week fix. This is a free coaching program over a 4-week period, completely free to get you dialed in with training, nutrition, healthy habits. You'll have support and accountability from us, your coaching team. It's free to join. Click the link below this video in the description to secure your place. We look forward to supporting you through this health and fitness journey.